shut off the work brain and replace it with the I'm home brain so that you can transition from work to home without bringing your work home. For the past year, many of us have not had the same end of day experience or routines of getting into the car or onto the bus and driving home. We were used to that time where we could decompress on the way home. We're also not used to having our work only 10 feet away at any point, seemingly always calling our name. We know that we need good routines so that we can mentally detach. We need it for not only work life balance, but we need it to separate our world so that we can be fully with our family at the end of the workday. This week's top 10 is for us to find different ways to implement that shut off switch. Now, our first tip comes from Kay Lebhertz from Calgary, Alberta. Kay shares that she has replaced her old commute to work with a walk around the neighborhood or on the treadmill if it's bad weather. And this has given her more physical activity, which is good, and more me time. And Kay shares that it gives her the opportunity to transition from work mindset to the family mindset. And the same way we drove to work and we drove home, why not get outside and drive to work by walking around the block and drive home the same way? It's the trigger that tells your brain to switch gears, and it is good for you too. Bridget Cochran from Fort McMurray, Alberta, brings us our second tip. At the very end of each workday, Bridget checks her bring forward file for the next day. She can leave work and know that the next day is ready to go, and she doesn't have to bring work home and worry about it. Now, this is especially important for Fridays so that she can detach on the weekends and know that everything's ready to go on Monday. Now, when I start my Monday, I know exactly where I left off and where I have to start by doing the same thing as Bridget does. Handy, right? Kim Picard from Embrun, Ontario shares that she ends each day by going into her living room for a different view and to sit down and read a book. That way, her eyes get a different light and something other than the screen to look at. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm always complaining that I don't have enough time for my personal reading that I enjoy. This might be a way to get a quick 30 minutes in each day, which would totally separate work from home. Thanks for that one, Kim. Janet Stewart from Ottawa, Ontario says that she has a set dinner time each night and it forces a bookmark into her day. Otherwise, Janet says she could just keep on working right through the evening. So setting an alarm for different tasks, work and home, is a way of ending the workday. Number 5 is from Donna Vendetti from Thorold, Ontario. Donna says that when her workday ends, she makes a point to play with her dog. It de-stresses her right away, so she is no longer thinking about work. Now, I know that many of you combined playing with the dog with the end of the day walk or walking the dog. And I'm sure the dog appreciates the marker for the end of your workday too, although I think that many dogs are tired from their daily walks, all of them. Number 6 is from Whitney Kelso from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Whitney shared that when she was working in the office, it was a requirement for her to lock her computer whenever she left it for any reason. So she is still doing that at home. So when Whitney locks her computer at night, it symbolizes mentally that little shut off switch that she is done. Then she closes the lid on the laptop. Whitney's work area is for both and for personal. So the closed laptop is also a symbolic routine. Judy Mason from St. Louis, Missouri shared that her routine, and she was not alone in this routine, is that when she calls it quits at the end of the day, she goes to her bedroom and takes off her bra. Wahoo, Judy. I know you're not alone doing that. Jackie Flood from Geneseo, New York shares that part of her end of day routine is to change her clothes. Now, that had me thinking, as I dress fairly comfortably when I'm in the office, which means I typically don't change my clothes when work is over most of the time, since I'm getting extremely tired of my casual clothes and actually miss some of my business clothes and maybe heels. I'm going to start putting on more business wear during the day so that I can have the routine of changing back into my comfortable clothes at the end of the day to signal the day is over. I hope those clothes still fit. Number 9 comes from Dawn Becker from Vancouver, British Columbia. Dawn also walks herself home from her home office by getting outside, but now that the nice weather is here, she's trying to get to the golf course at the end of the workday as much as possible. Now, I personally would love to have 9 holes scheduled a couple of times a week for the end of the day. It is something to look forward to, as well as giving you a great end to the workday and exercise. Now, if you're thinking about what your work while you're golfing, you can be sure you're going to have a bad game. So you have to let it go on the golf course. And number 10 comes from me. Like many of you, I love what I do. And I really do have a hard time walking away from the office because I enjoy what I do. So last year, one of the things that Warren and I did is we switched our exercise time to the end of the workday. So typically we change into our exercise gear and work out together. After our workout, we both need to shower and I put my comfortable clothes back on and go start the evening routine. Now, I will confess that there are periods of time when we aren't as disciplined about that exercise as there's so many other things to do. So whatever the routine is that you have, make sure that you're switching off from work. Now, when our office is only 10 feet away, it's really hard to switch off. Some of you are using the dining room table, you still see it, right? So whether it is changing your clothes, putting your work stuff away, going for a walk, playing with the dog, or make a nice cup of tea, make sure that you create a signal to your brain that your workday is over. Now get back to work and good luck.